Hi Pisces, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. Hope you guys are having a good holiday season and new year. This is your 2026 year ahead overview. And the way it works is we'll actually look at each of the 12 houses of the zodiac, treating your sign as the first house. And we're actually going to pull an oracle card after that from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. But we're actually going to start the reading off over one of those astrology guys we have off to the right to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. And as far as the main tarot deck being used, we have the Cosmic Tarot. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started. Alright, so we have 5. Fifth house energy for you guys is Cancer. And we've had Jupiter there for quite some time. It's going to finally start a direct path on March 11th. And that'll eventually move into Leo. But yeah, fifth house in general points to romance, creativity, and children. We have the sun. So naturally, the sun's going to move through the entire zodiac as we move through the year. But the sun in general will point to a bit of youthfulness, just high energy in general. So maybe you'll be feeling a little bit of a boost as far as that goes this year. And we have Taurus. So Taurus is actually a third house of communications, short journeys, and siblings. Currently, we have Uranus there. It will move out of Taurus and into Gemini toward the very end of April. But yeah, just be saying maybe there's a focus on your communications this year as well. So we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. First house energy, we have the Fool. So this could just be saying that maybe you guys are going to be a little bit more adventurous than usual this year. Maybe a little bit more prone to take risks, take chances. And maybe that's pointing to what we were seeing with the fifth house energy coming up with the dice as well. Maybe saying you're going to be a little bit more bold in general this year. All right. And the second house, which generally points to possessions, self-worth, and finances, we have the High Priestess. So typically I view this as an actual Piscean energy for one. But yeah, to see this here, I feel like this is saying that the key for you guys this year when it comes to your finances, it might be to tap into your intuition a little bit more. Maybe you'll just get these insights on what the best choices would be around finances this year. All right. In the third house, which points to communications, short journeys, and siblings, we have the Four of Pentacles. So this is actually Capricorn energy here. We can see the symbol and the artwork as well. But yeah, this could just be saying maybe you'll be a little bit more restricted when it comes to your communications, right? So maybe you'll have, so it's interesting to see the Fool card coming up in the first house, which to me, like I said, it might point to you taking a bit more risk than usual this year. But seeing this here could just be saying that you might be a little bit more tight-lipped when it comes to your communication now. So maybe especially around finances, right? Maybe, let's say if you are doing very well financially, but you're like, you know what? If I kind of put that out there, people might try to take advantage of that, right? You might be a little bit more tight-lipped when it comes to that. But this could also just be saying that maybe you take yourselves a bit more seriously to an extent as well. So what I'm getting with that is kind of like you operating with the feeling of there's a time and a place for everything, right? So, okay, you're not going to totally just, be super stuffy and button up this year, right? You're going to take your chances, you're going to have your fun, but you're also going to realize when it's time to get down to business as well. So it sounds like a good balance. Right. In the fourth house, which in general points to home roots family, we have the King of Cups. So a lot of decks, King of Cups energy would be Scorpio, but if we look at the artwork here, they clearly have some Cancerian symbolism. But either way, seeing this here, a fellow water energy and a water house, which is the fourth house in this case, could just be saying that you might be feeling really comfortable at home. Maybe you guys are beautifying your home environment to where you actually are just able to enjoy yourselves a little bit more in that environment. In the fifth house, we have the world. So we did see fifth house energy come up with the dice as well. And the seed is here points to the world in general, points to growth, right? Usually sometimes hard fought lessons, right? Hard won lessons. But this does often make me think of North Node energy, and you guys still have the North Node in your sign. So could just be pointing to that to an extent. And also you have Jupiter, like we mentioned, in your fifth house too. So maybe even as it's been interacting with the North Node from time to time, that could have been giving you really sharp insights around this area of life for you guys. So whether it be maybe there was a creative project that you've been working on for a while, right? And maybe it took you a long time to get to a point where you felt like you were comfortable with it, but now I feel like this is saying that it would be ready for you to put it out there. If this is around romance, right? Maybe you learn some lessons around that, where, maybe when to give people chances, maybe when not to, right? Things along those lines. But either way, it looks like this is saying you've learned what you needed to learn and you're good to proceed forward, trusting that. All right, in the sixth house, we have the Eight of Cups. So this is actually a Piscean energy. And generally speaking, it points to people realizing that the path they're on might lack some level of fulfillment. And in a lot of decks, we do see the person walking away because of that, right? And just seeking something more. Here we do see the person isn't necessarily going anywhere. But given that this is in your sixth house, could just be saying that maybe when it comes to your work lives, right? Maybe some daily routines you engage in. For some of you, to a lesser extent, maybe even addictions, right? I feel like this is saying that you could find yourselves really detaching from that, right? To where it just doesn't do it for you anymore, and you might not right away be ready to make change around that, but it looks like at the very least it's going to be heavy on your mind. All right. In the seventh house, we have the Queen of Wands. So this is usually an actual Aries energy, but if you look at the art symbolism there in the background, we do see an archer. So this, to me, comes across more Sagittarian. But either way, seeing this here, I feel like this is saying that you might be a little bit more bold and outgoing when it comes to your love lives this year, and maybe even just partnerships that you might enter into as well. So maybe if you'd let others take the lead in those situations, now you could be the one taking the lead this year. And it looks like it would pay off. All right. In the eighth house, we have the Eight of Swords. So this is actually Gemini energy here. So to see this come up, it could just be saying that maybe when it comes to, let's say, so in general, eighth house points to death, rebirth, intimacy, even taxes to an extent. This could just be saying that maybe you feel a little unsure of yourselves in that area of life, right? So maybe, again, like I said, on the one hand, you might be bold in some ways, but maybe when it comes to intimacy, you might not know how to cross that bridge, right? You might not feel comfortable with it. Maybe, maybe not. That hasn't been the case your whole life, but maybe for whatever reason, you've lost a little bit of touch with that side of yourselves. For others of you, this could be around investing, right? Where, like I said, if that's the case, looks like this is saying the High Priestess would be the key for you to trust your intuition when it comes to any investments you might want to make, how you want to handle your finances. So I feel like this is saying if you do feel yourself stuck in that kind of energy, not knowing which way to go, relying on your intuition could actually be the key. In the ninth house, we have the Seven of Wands. So this is Leo energy here. And seeing this here for ninth house, now ninth house in general points to philosophy, higher learning, foreign affairs. To me, this is saying in this context, you might express some viewpoints, right, that people might challenge. But what this says to me is that you could actually, your viewpoints would actually stand up to those challenges. So, maybe you say something that's maybe not widely known, right? Like we said with the intuitive energy we see with the High Priestess, for example. So maybe you put it out there, people might scrutinize it, maybe even criticize it initially, but then when people dig a little deeper into it, turns out, oh, actually Pisces was right, So that's what I see with that. All right. In the 10th house, we have the King of Swords. So in this deck in particular, it's actually Libran energy, as we could see from the symbolism there. So this could just be saying when it comes to your career and social status, that actually you might actually find things to be a bit more balanced, right? And I feel like this is also saying that, again, going back to what I was getting with the high priestess as well, to have trust in yourselves, right? So if you're seeing something a certain way, try not to doubt yourselves too much around that. So if you feel like everything's on the up and up, great, right? Don't dig too deep and uh, cause an imbalance there. But if you also feel like there's something a little bit off about the environment too, then I feel like this is encouraging you to dig a little deeper. All right. In the 11th house, we have Strength. So this is actually the major arcana card for Leo. I mean, some big Leo symbolism there, right, with the lion. But so 11th house in general, this could just be saying maybe you're going to be a little bit more bold and courageous around groups that you approach as well, right? Maybe you'll find yourselves taking a bit more of a leadership or an outspoken role within your friendships, right? So that's what I'm seeing with that. Trying to think if astrologically there's anything that would point to why that might be coming out this year, but not necessarily. Well, I mean, while we still have Jupiter in your fifth house, that could definitely make you more outspoken for sure, but could just be what you're feeling in general, regardless. And in the 12th house, we have the Empress. So you guys are the natural rulers of the 12th house, but 12th house in general points to uh, mental health, blind spots, spirituality. So to see this come up in the 12th house, I feel like this is saying the main thing is to try not to be hard on yourselves this year, right? So I feel like this is saying, definitely avoid negative self-talk, right? Even if you feel like, oh, you came up short with something, right? I feel like this is saying, just give yourself a little time, give yourself a little grace, and then move forward from there. And it should pay off for you. And again, I feel like this is also tying into what we were saying with the high priestess in the second house, because again, 12th house is definitely about intuition and spirituality. I feel like this is saying as well, definitely rely on your intuition to guide you in a forward direction toward your goals this year. All right. And bottom of the deck, we have the Magician. So yeah, so to me this kind of aligns with what I see with the World card in the fifth house as well, which to me is to say that you have the power and the skill set you need to actually turn things around in your favor if you feel like you've been going through a bit of a rough stretch. So definitely something to keep in mind there. But we'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix. So like I mentioned, we're actually going to pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck here. I'm just going to give this a few shuffles and then we'll pull a card. All right, we'll take this card, get this out of the way, and we'll see what cards you guys got. All right, we have a leg up. There's the artwork, and the number is 34. So let's see what this has to say. Okay, essential meanings says receiving help, delegating authority, interdependence. The Oracle's message: you've come to a point where going it alone is no longer optimal for you. Life has a way of presenting you with the perfect people to align with who can give you a leg up during this next phase of your journey. Help comes to you in all the areas of your life where you need a boost. The trick is to accept that aid so freely given. When you embrace interdependence, allowing teamwork and independence to commingle, miracles happen. Now is such a time. So definitely a good message to see there. And it's also interesting, like we said with the World card in your house of creativity, like I said, it looks like there's something that you've learned and maybe you're having a little bit of difficulty trusting that just yet. But between that, seeing the Strength card in your 11th house, looks like there's definitely some indicators that, again, like I said, it might For one, you could trust yourself, but also you might cross paths with people who could help advance your goals as well this year. The relationship message says relationships that are healthy thrive on interdependence. It's important to recognize that you need others as much as they need you. You must allow people to support you just as you were there for them. This is a time to be vulnerable, to speak up about your needs, and to ask for them to be fulfilled. Trust. You will be met with kindness and love. Don't expect others to read your mind, though. Ask and it is given. So, yeah, reading that message there makes me think of the fact that we see the Queen of Wands in the seventh house. So, like we said, it's definitely a bit more of a bold energy, whether you want to look at it through the Sagittarian lens or through the Aries lens. And then seeing the World card in the fifth house too says to me that, yeah, you might have learned those lessons, right? It might be hard to apply them at times, but you're like, yeah, you know what? I do need to speak up if I want to have my needs met, right? And then, like we said, we're seeing some bold, courageous energies popping up for you guys this year too. So that might be more of a natural fit for you guys this year than you might be accustomed to. The prosperity message says now is the perfect time to seek advice from a mentor or business advisor who has been where you want to go to help you get there too. If you do, you will receive very good counsel that will aid in your prosperity. It may also be the case that your endeavors have grown and you are in a position where you just can't do it all yourself anymore. Time to bring on those who can give you a leg up. Trust that help is available and it will indeed appear. Delegate authority to others so you can take steps toward your big dream. The perfect people will arrive at the perfect time so long as you step forward with just a mustard seed of faith. So, definitely a positive message there as well. We'll wrap up there. Again, hope you guys are having a good holiday season and New Year. Bye.